Hey guys, I want to welcome you to the weekly Wednesday for the Financial Freedom newsletter, where every week, every Wednesday, we delve into something inspirational, motivational, something excerpt taken from the Financial Freedom weekly newsletter. Wherever you are, if you're listening on Spotify, on iTunes, Google, be sure to click the like, subscribe, share, comment. And without ado, let's get into the show. Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. I'm really excited about today's guest, Andrew Bolis. He's a fractional CMO. We're going to learn about what that is. He's a business growth consultant, talking about B2B, business growth, SaaS. I'm really excited about this conversation. I love talking to entrepreneurs in this space. Andrew, welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show, Chris.
Yeah, we had connected through Podmatch. So tell people about your story, your background, and how you got started.
Sure. So I've worked in marketing for about 15 years. Most recently, I was a full-time CMO at a Series B tech startup. My role there ended in December, and since then I've been doing consulting work and fractional work. I basically help drive growth at other businesses. So that's everything from digital marketing, demand generation, sometimes even marketing strategy. It kind of really depends on the stage the business is at and what they need help with.
Yeah, it's interesting. What's interesting is this idea of fractional. I've heard of fractional CFO and these ideas of fraction. Tell us. What is a fractional CMO?
Sure, and I think you're right. Like fractional CFO was like the first fractional, and from there you've gotten like CMOs, CROs, and now like I'm hearing about all other kinds of fractionals. So a fractional CMO is a part-time marketing leader, and again, a lot of what they do depends on the stage of your company. So if you're very early on, maybe they help you build a marketing strategy or a go-to-market strategy. If you're later on and you need to hire, maybe a marketing team or build a marketing function, they can help you with that. And then if you even have a marketing function, they can help you sort of optimize your operations, 2x, 3x your results.
Yeah, I love that. And I love these ideas where everybody's calling themselves chief X officer. There's like chief innovation officer. It's quite interesting how people define themselves. So one thing is, talking about is, so 5 growth strategies to build brand and create demand. Easy to execute, cheap to scale. Tell us more.
Sure. And these were written specifically for B2B companies, but a lot of them can work for B2C. A lot of them are based on content distribution. So I guess let me back up. I think a lot of companies think, hey, I need more leads for my business, so I'm going to spend more money on paid, do more ads, and paid works. But the problem with paid is it requires more money to scale, or the idea is, hey, I'm just going to create more content. Again, that works, but you're going to have to spend a lot of money or hire someone or pay a freelancer to write it. So a lot of these 5 are focused on distribution, and I'll start with the first one being email. So I think email is very underutilized. I'm not a fan of salesy emails where, like the first email is just a pitch, book a meeting, I have something to sell you, because that just gets you marked as spam. So I think, the first one is just, using, different insights, kind of bite-sized content and sharing those through emails in a very targeted way.
Yeah. What are the other 4?
Sure. So the second one is LinkedIn employee programs. So I think, some founders and CEOs are starting to get active on LinkedIn. Imagine if you can kind of multiply what you're doing there by getting your employees active, especially your sales or marketing team. So it's kind of a program to help employees build engagement on LinkedIn, and it helps them build a personal brand, but it also gets the company a lot of brand awareness and leads. That's the second one. I guess anything there before I move on to the third?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so the third one is actually one of my favorites because it's the quickest to do. It's just basic partner marketing. And the way you do it is, a lot of companies are already maybe creating webinars, doing like reports. You find a company that goes after the same target audience, it's just not a direct competitor of yours, like a more of an adjacent solution. And you partner with them, let's say on a webinar, on a report. The nice thing is when it comes out, you can then co-promote it to each of your databases. It doesn't cost you any additional money, but you get like double the effect and potentially the leads from doing that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It sounds like everything is you can use technology and platforms and social media. Particularly LinkedIn, I don't think it gets as much hype as like Instagram or TikTok or Twitter, but LinkedIn is actually one of the best ways. So talk about 3 ways to use LinkedIn to grow your business, like personal branding, selling, all of that.
Sure. So I'll talk about it in 3 ways. I think you're right. Like LinkedIn is a beast right now. So they're almost at about 1 billion users. All professionals log on to LinkedIn, but maybe only 10% ever post anything on LinkedIn. And then even within that 10%, like maybe 1 to 2% get any kind of engagement on their posts, as in people like liking, commenting. So yeah, if you do anything on LinkedIn right now, I think the ROI is very high compared to like Twitter or Instagram, where they're like very mature and very competitive as platforms. So I think 3 ways. So let's start with like doing like outbound on LinkedIn. So if you know you're targeting, let's say VPs of marketing at specific companies because you're selling them a marketing service, you use LinkedIn search, you search for those people. There's all kinds of parameters. You get a list of those people and you can just start, by sending them connection requests, or if you pay for InMail, you can actually send them, InMails right away. The way I like to do it is I'm doing it more to network or start a conversation from there. Once I know more about like what they do or what they need, if my service is a fit, then I'll bring it up. But again, my goal is just to get a reply and start a conversation, not to sell right away. So that's the first way. Second way you could use LinkedIn is by commenting on other people's posts. And by doing that, you're basically borrowing their audience, right? So like, let's say you're in supply chain. So my last company was in supply chain. There's a few people who, have huge followings in supply chain. So I would just, go to their posts and just comment on them and share some insights and things like that. And that would get me followers on LinkedIn because now they're curious, hey, like this is pretty cool advice. Who's this person? I want to follow them. The third one, which is more, more effort, but does pay off in the long term, is we do like thought leadership. You create posts, maybe you have like video clips, different pieces of content that you share on LinkedIn, directly as, through posts.
Yeah, I love that. There's so many different ways, different creative ways. And what I love is how you're talking about generating qualified leads on a limited budget. You basically leveraging relationship capital, you're using social media, technology. What are some ways, that you help clients generate qualified leads on a limited budget?
Sure. So one of the quick wins that I think a lot of clients and even businesses just don't do is they never try to re-engage leads that they started working before that just didn't close. So when I start work with the clients, one of the things I'll ask is, I want to see the leads that maybe you've had the first call with that just didn't move forward for whatever reason. Maybe it was price. Maybe they just weren't ready to buy. Maybe they decided to go with a competitor. And I look at those and I'm looking at notes too, because a lot of clients will have notes in their CRM or even an Excel spreadsheet or whatever it is. And I'm trying to figure out right away how to re-engage those people because those people are fully qualified. They were interested enough in your business to talk to you once. So why not re-engage them? And then I also help the client like kind of build that into their processes where, any lead that drops out of their sales process, they're trying to re-engage it every month or two or something. And that's a kind of a fast way to get quick wins without, spending any money really.
Yeah, I love that. Talking about, and then what growth strategies are your clients seeing success with?
So I think the two right now that I think when I show them examples and then when you see other companies doing it, they get it. Like LinkedIn employee programs are doing pretty well. They take anywhere from 2 to 3 months to build and kind of get in a rhythm. But the way I do it is very structured. So once clients see that, and I show them companies who built agencies, consultancies, all kinds of companies off the back of LinkedIn, they get it right away. And then the other thing I think is partner marketing. I think where businesses struggle sometimes is figuring out who to partner with. how to then reach out to that person, or even who at the company to reach out to, what to say, how to structure the partnership so it's beneficial for both sides. So I think those are the two, companies are getting excited about.
Yeah. How do people get into these employee programs on LinkedIn? How does that work?
Sure. So when I start working with a company, I'm first figuring out like which employees we're gonna, go with. I like a mix. I like one or two people from their leadership teams. I like one or two marketing people, one or two salespeople. From there, it's, a process. We start out by optimizing their LinkedIn profile, right? Because there's no point to get engagement if people then go to your profile and they don't know what the company does or why you're on LinkedIn. So I create a profile like optimization checklist. All the people go through that. Then I show them, like, I create lists of people that they can engage with on LinkedIn through comments, through DMs, and these are their target prospects. Again, makes it very easy for them. And then the third part is I will actually help create content, or if they have a content marketing person, I'll work with that person to kind of give them some tips and topics that they can create content about, so that each person is posting maybe 2 or 3 times a week on LinkedIn. And it becomes very easy because then each one of those people just has to block 30 minutes on their day or whatever it is. They go through the things they have to do. And within 2 to 3 months, now all of those people have followers, they're getting engagement, and you start, getting leads and things like that for the company.
Yeah, I love that. And the other thing is talking about, you've been in the tech world, and then you basically pivoted into becoming a consultant and entrepreneur. What differentiates you from other marketing consultants?
I think it's a great question. So I think, I like using the term fractional CMO, but I've noticed everybody now is saying they're a fractional something. And I look at some of these people's like work history, and they've never even held even like a marketing leadership role, right? So what I'm actually starting to say now too, when I talk about myself, is I say I'm a business growth consultant. And the reason I like that more is because clients get what that is right away. And when it comes to driving growth, I've actually not just managed marketing, I've managed like BDRs and SDRs and sales development reps. So I know how to even work with sales very closely, not just to generate leads, but ensure that the leads are actually converting into actual opportunities and deals, and then ultimately becoming customers. So because I'm experienced kind of with that end-to-end funnel process, I kind of try to lean into that more and kind of talk about it more with customers.
Yeah. And what sort I know as we kind of get to the end of this, what kind of companies do you consult with? How can people reach out to you, follow you, check out your resources?
Sure. So I typically help growth stage B2B companies. These are typically companies that are, 5 million or more in revenue. They have already some kind of a team. They're seeing some traction, and they just need help with growth. Like, they just need more leads, more quality leads coming in. And then the best way to reach me is on LinkedIn. So I'm pretty active on there. I post on there regularly. So it's just send me a connection request. And that's a good way for us to chat.
Yeah. And for all the audience out there, let's thank Andrew for coming onto the show. It's really interesting to hear, what a fractional chief X officer is, talking about growth, business strategy, very easy and efficient ways, generating qualified leads, scaling your business, building a brand, getting more clients. And I love that. All of Andrew's resources will be in links and show notes. And with that, thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you for having me on.
I hope you really enjoyed that wonderful, inspirational, motivational piece. Again, wherever you are listening, if you liked it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on everywhere: Spotify, iTunes, Google, Amazon, Audible. And without much ado, be sure to thank this show's sponsors, and we'll see you next week.